Welcome to our special Avirbhav Festival Appearance Day. I just shorten it up a little. That's okay, just, yeah. That doesn't need to be. It's okay. Yes, today we are gathered here, devotees. We are gathered together to honor the appearance day of a very dear and very, very sincere devotee of Srila Prabhupada, as I'm sure you're all well aware. Her Grace, Gokuleshwari Devi Dasi. And I'm not entirely sure what the program is, but I thought I could read a verse about, well, you could say about associates of Lord Chaitanya, and then say some personal things, about Gokuleshwari from my own not inconsiderable experience with her. Let's see, where are we here? Right, not right. Okay. So, devotees, let me read a few verses, actually, from Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. First of all, please repeat after me. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, devotees, this is Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela Chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. And we will begin, we'll read a few verses, but we'll begin with verses 18 and 19, which appear together here. Yan Sabha Lana Prabhur Nitya Vihara. Yan Sabha Lana Prabhur Kirtana Prachara. Yan Sabha Lana Karen Prema Asvadana. Yan Sabha Lana Dana Kare Prema Dana. Translation. The internal devotees or potencies of Lord Chaitanya are all eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. Only with them does the Lord advent to propound the Sankirtan movement. Only with them does the Lord taste the mellow of conjugal love. And only with them does he distribute this love of God to people in general. And a couple more verses. Don't look. You're not allowed to look. Right? Just keep focused. Yeah, on Krishna and Balaram. Or Gornatai. Yeah, that's the way. So yeah, a couple more verses. Verses 20 and 21. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. But when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of the Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst for it grew. Yes, okay. And yes. So I mean, we could carry on. That it's all extremely nice, but let's just say a few words about this. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshtarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyas Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Yeah, so that was some verses from the 7th chapter of the Adi Leela, which is essentially, it's all about the Panchatattva, means Lord Chaitanya and his principal associates. And we read those verses. It was 4 verses actually altogether. How Lord Chaitanya came with his associates, and they did wonderful things. They broke open the storehouse of love of God, which Krishna had brought when he came 5,000 years ago from now. And so Krishna brought it, and there it was, just full of love of God. But Krishna left it locked up. And there it was. It's a very kind of like a puzzling situation. Why would he do that? But there was reasoning behind it, that Lord Krishna, of course, he knew he was going to come as Lord Chaitanya not so long afterwards, in cosmic terms at least, 4,500 years later. He knew he was going to come as Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya would have that mission. The time, the place, the circumstances, the people were not ready enough in those days. You know, of course, there were some who were ready, more than ready, the inhabitants of Vrindavan was more than ready, and great devotees like the devotees in Dwaraka, the Pandavas and Queen Kunti and so on. But, they were qualified, but they already had it. So there's no point of trying to distribute it to them because they already had it. So, but it was that special mission, Krishna's special mission, to come as Lord Chaitanya with his closest associates, the Panchatattva, and they would do it. They would do it. So the storehouse just stood there. Of course, you can't literally see it. It's not that sort of storehouse, but still it's a real storehouse. It just remained there, around. So then Lord Chaitanya came, the Panchatattva, and they broke open the storehouse, and all just everything inside just all came pouring out like a flood, an inundation. It was just massive. All came flowing out. And you may have heard, there are verses further from these ones we read, which describe how the contents of the storehouse of love of God came flooding out like liquid, because love of God is sometimes described as being like liquid. You can drown in the ocean of love of God, the Prema Sindhu, the ocean of love, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So anyway, it all came flooding out, and the description is, it may sound a little extraordinary, that all the nice people, those who are already devotees, and the pious people, and the people who had potential for becoming devotees, all these types of people, when the flood of love of God came, all those people, devotees, were able to drown. How does that sound? Doesn't sound good, does it? Yeah. But they had the qualification already, basically. So they were able to drown. And we are not upset. We don't feel shocked that, oh no, all these devotees and nice people drowned. That's terrible. But no, it was good. They all drowned. It was extremely good. But all the impious people, the atheists, the materialists, and all these types of people, the impersonalists, and Srila Prabhupada says, the lowest amongst the student community. Those of you who are students, it's okay. You're not in that sort of category, but I was a student once, I think. It was so long ago. And I tell you what, gee whiz, talk about low. As low as you can go, and lower. So anyway, all these ones, they couldn't drown. And their heads were sticking up out of that flood of love of God which was spread out all over. And they were calling out, because it was just, like unlimited. It was just everywhere. It wasn't just here. It was, the whole world practically was inundated, at least so much of it. So wasn't like they could swim to the side and get out. So they called out for help. Save us, SOS, save our souls. And the Panchatattva, of course they're special. They didn't need to drown, they'd already drowned, and they were experts in the whole science. So they were, with the whole Panchatattva, which of course includes Lord Caitanya himself, they were all swimming around and looking for these heads bobbing in the ocean, the flood of love of God. And so they'd see someone over there. Look, there's one. Yes, let's get him. And they'd swim over, and this person's calling out, help, save me. And they'd swim over, and they'd respond, don't worry, here we come. And they'd swim over and surround the person, and the person would think, I'm safe. And they were devotees. Fasten your seatbelts. They would, the Panchatattva from all sides, they'd push the person under, and the person would drown. Which is good. It's not just good, it's just the perfection, actually, the best. So, therefore, we say that this Krishna consciousness movement, because we are following, this is the movement of Lord Caitanya and the Panchatattva. And we are just carrying on, continuing their mission. That's all we're doing, really. Trying to become Krishna conscious and then give it. And in the process of becoming, giving it. And that's how we do it. Our own sadhana, and then participating in the spreading of this movement. So therefore sometimes we say, in regard to this whole phenomenon we just talked about, which we are continuing, sometimes we say that we, as followers of Lord Caitanya, followers of Srila Prabhupada, who's the supreme follower of Lord Caitanya in the modern age, we devotees, we are giving drowning lessons. How to drown, not how to swim. I was brought up in a certain way. I learnt to swim. I was like somewhere between 2 and 3. I was able to walk, a bit clumsy, but I could manage. And I was taught how to swim. So, but we are giving drowning lessons. How to drown. You've got to know how to drown, because, you don't want to not drown in the ocean of love of God. So, in this sense, we are all associates of Lord Caitanya. We're a few generations down the line, of course, but doesn't mean we're not associates of Lord Caitanya, because he's still here. And the Panchatattva, his associates, they're all still here. Generally not visible to our ordinary eyes, but it doesn't mean that they're not here. They're definitely here. And it's said sometimes that because Lord Chaitanya's movement is the Sankirtan movement of going out and finding the people and giving them Krishna consciousness and drowning them. But we are outgoing. We do not just sit and wait until they come and then we start dealing with them. Srila Prabhupada said himself, I did not, talking about the Americans right back in the beginning, He said, I did not wait for you to invite me. I just came. Yeah. So it's like that. And so therefore, we're all associates of Lord Caitanya. Of course, there are different degrees of absorption or advancement in the mood and involvement in the activities, but one way or another, if you're here tonight, you are an associate of Lord Caitanya. And for the more advanced of you, you must really become really good drowning instructors and drowners, meaning people who are capable of drowning others. So yeah. So I remember one time when I was in Bhaktivedanta Manor, well, I was living there from 1976, I was based there till the end of 79, the first days of 1980 before I came here. And Srila Prabhupada would come quite often because London was in the middle between India and America, and Prabhupada was going back and forth, so he'd always stop in London, either going or coming, and spend some days. So it was really our good fortune. But I remember one morning, Srila Prabhupada was giving Bhagavatam class in the temple in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and he was talking about how the associates, of how many devotees, meaning current, they're devotees from their previous lifetimes, and some are demigods, and some were associates of the Lord, and like that he was saying. And then Srila Prabhupada looked around, and Srila Prabhupada said, you never know who you may be sitting next to. Prabhupada said, it might be Narada Muni. Really? So anyway, one way or the other, this evening we are celebrating a very nice and very sincere and dedicated and active associate of Lord Caitanya for many years, who is, of course, none other than Her Grace Gokuleshwari Devi Dasi. Haribol. And to be honest, I can't remember exactly when we met. It was in the 90s, though. Roughly when? 94. Mahaprabhu? To your place? Oh, to your place. Yes. In Mayfair, right? Yes. You know, she had such a nice place in Mayfair. Many times I thought, we must convert this into a preaching center. But we were there regularly, quite regularly, doing programs of one type or another. Yeah, one of those old houses there, but kind of classical old houses. It was really nice. So there, at least I can speak for myself, I got to know Gokuleshwari Devi Dasi and her family, of course. of course, who were a lot younger then, but yeah, and they were there, and they were nice. They hadn't so much got into Krishna consciousness like she did very quickly, very quickly. Then after a while, we got a place in Auckland Park. Do you remember when that was? Or was it Crosby? Okay. A small place in Crosby, that's right, I remember that. Yeah. But then we got Auckland Park. That was great. We should have bought it, but anyway, such is life. We could have bought it for 400,000. Now I don't know, what it's worth, but a few million, I'm sure. Yeah. So anyway, she was always involved. And she became, in Auckland Park, kind of, there was a president who was Atmarama from Nigeria, who was nice. He was very nice. He was a lawyer, actually. He was a highly intelligent person and, nice devotee. But having said that, the sort of, not de facto, but effective president, pretty much, was Gokuleshwari. She was really keeping on top of things. And, of course, I don't want to embarrass her too much. To some degrees fine, but not too much. But all I can say, the bottom line is, she's really a dedicated, sincere soul. And she's done a lot of service of different sorts, helping Mahaprabhu, Food for Life, and things like this. And just always very serious and dedicated in Krishna consciousness, like really outstandingly so, very steady and stable. So today is her, I will not say what number it is, but I will say she's older than me. And I just turned 71. So, not much older, but a little. But she really, she keeps going. She's active. She has health challenges. Practically all of us do anyway, what to speak of those of us who are older, but she still carries on. So I'd like to, just for my part, I'd like to thank you for being a very sincere and dedicated devotee. And I'm just sure, it's just my evaluation, you are recognized by Krishna. Krishna knows you. Krishna, your name is in Krishna's little black notebook. With a series of gold stars next to it. Did you know Krishna has a little black notebook? Yeah. It may be a little black device or something now, but it's the same thing. And it's not so easy to get your name in Krishna's little black notebook. It's not just you become a devotee or you get initiated and you're doing something here and there. and then, your name's just in Krishna's little black notebook. Not exactly. You got to do something. You got to do something meaningful. You got to make an effort, extend yourself for Krishna. You got to accept a little bit of discomfort sometimes, and go the extra mile or so sometimes. That's what Krishna notes. The ordinary stuff, it's all good. It's all very good. But when you extend yourself, then Krishna really takes note, and he writes your name in his book. And after a while, he may give you, what would you say? If you do something nice, he may give you a bronze star. Do they do that in school nowadays? A bronze one, yeah? And then after a while, a silver one? Yeah. But then after a while, if you really, gone for it and really done your best consistently from the heart, then you get your first gold star. And then someone like Gokuleshwari, she's been carrying on like that for all these years, So many years coming. It's almost 30 years. She's got a string of gold stars there. And when you're like that, then it's just a matter of time, and then one morning you wake up and you're in Goloka Vrindavan. So I'm happy to have your to have had and to have your association. And I'm praying to Krishna that he'll keep you engaged nicely and keep you fit to be engaged nicely. And you'll just carry on doing more and more. Yeah. And we're all fortunate. We're definitely fortunate. There's a tendency to become familiar with devotees. Even some devotees became familiar with Srila Prabhupada. Really. And thought that, he's a pleasant, sort of sharp-witted, elderly gentleman. So, because of our conditioning, we have this capacity to sort of underestimate people. And it's part of thinking we're the best, or that we should be the best, or we should be recognized by people as the best. But these other people, they're so stupid they don't recognize that I'm the best. So, to become familiar with each other is not difficult at all. But we should really, on a regular basis, we should pray to Krishna, please give me the insight, the intelligence, and the heart to recognize, appreciate the devotees for what they are. Appreciation is such a vital, beneficial part of Krishna consciousness, to appreciate the devotees. So please appreciate Her Grace Gokuleshwari, Devi Dasi. And now, it took a while actually, but now she has drowned her children officially, at least 2 of the 3 officially. I mean, they're all drowned, you could say, because she's a touchstone. Yeah, kind of, she emanates Krishna consciousness, exudes it. So there you go, devotees. Hare Krishna. Her Grace Gokuleshwari Devi Dasi Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. And like I said at the beginning, I don't actually know what the program is, but whoever knows, you can take over now. Take it outside.